You ever have one of those weeks where you think life finally paid you back only to realize it's just winding up to punch you in the gut? That was me, still buzzing after bringing home my new Lamborghini, the one I'd poured years of sweat and sleepless nights into matte black and mean, sitting in my driveway like the trophy it was. And I swear, for one evening, just standing there next to it, feeling like a kid who finally caught Santa in the act, everything felt right. My grandpa, he's lived with me for years, just laughed, said I looked like a 5-year-old with his first Red Ryder. He wasn't wrong either. I'd worked so hard for that car, made every sacrifice, turned down weekends, holidays, all for that dream. If you'd asked me what could possibly go wrong, I'd have said maybe a bird might leave a little something on the hood. Turns out the universe had something a whole lot messier in mind. First light the next morning, I get the doorbell, way too early, mind you. And there stands Karen, president of our HOA, looking like she's got a lemon stuck under her nose, her hair pulled so tight it was a wonder she could blink. And next to her, almost hiding, was her son, Bryce. Now, Bryce is 24, but you wouldn't know it, kind of a grown-up toddler vibe. You know, he's got that pout, arms crossed, like somebody just unplugged his Xbox mid-game. Karen doesn't even bother with hello. Just points at my car and goes, "That's a problem." Like I'd parked a spaceship on her petunias. Before I can even answer, Bryce pipes up, voice all whiny and desperate. Seeing it every day triggers my depression. It's not fair. I'm standing there trying not to laugh or yell, thinking there's got to be a hidden camera somewhere. But no, Karen puffs up and announces, for the good of the neighborhood and Bryce's well-being, you'll allow him to co-own the vehicle. I mean, I actually looked behind me thinking, is there another car here? But nope, she meant my car. She even starts talking about drafting a new HOA clause, exotic car owners sharing their vehicles for community morale. Bryce, meanwhile, is staring at my Lambo like it's Christmas dinner and he hasn't eaten in a week. His hand literally starts to reach out and I snap back, absolutely not. But you could see in their eyes they already had some plan. And my grandpa's words came right back. You work for what you want and you protect what's yours. And right then I knew this wasn't just about a car, it was about standing my ground. See, Karen has always been a little tightly wound. Ruler measuring the grass, 3-page emails about trash can placement, you know, the type. Bryce was just kind of there floating around the neighborhood, telling stories about tech startups he almost launched or celebrity friends he almost met, never actually working but always looking put out. And then there's my Uncle Mitch, lives a few blocks away, big heart, 0 cents. He heard about my car and called me up like, heard you got a rocket, kid. We should see if it can outrun a police helicopter. Mitch always thought he was one good idea away from greatness, even if half his ideas ended with a busted pipe or stuck couch. But this thing with Karen and Bryce, it hit different. It wasn't just some neighborly squabble over mailbox color. They weren't just asking for a favor. They were demanding a piece of what I'd built just because Bryce claimed my success made him sad. And you know that kind of entitlement just gets under your skin. But Karen wasn't taking no for an answer. She hit me with every trick in the book. Noise complaints, parking violations, bogus letters, all signed with her perfect, sharp little signature. I mean, I had my car parked in my own driveway, locked up tight, but that didn't matter. Then the scratch happened. Went to the garage one morning, and there it was, a huge white line carved right down the driver's side, ugly as sin. No doubt in my mind who did it. Bryce had, "I'm going to key your car," written all over his face since the first time he saw it. And as if that wasn't enough, Karen ramps it up, more letters, more official threats. I tried talking to neighbors. Most gave me the, "I know what you're going through" look, but kept quiet. They'd all had their run-ins with her. Uncle Mitch, though, was ready to escalate. "Fight fire with fire," he said. "I know a guy with some mean geese. I passed on the geese, but I started keeping my guard up." Next, Karen tried the boldest move yet, called a tow truck on my Lambo, claiming it was abandoned. My grandpa called me in a panic. "They're here with a truck." I tore home, broke every speed limit between my office and the house just to find a tow truck backed up to my driveway, hook ready. Karen was waving some sketchy-looking paperwork, all smug like the queen of the block. Bryce was actually bouncing on his toes, giddy. I confronted the tow driver and he shrugged. "Got a work order, says tow it." But I could tell he was uneasy. Then out of nowhere, Uncle Mitch comes barreling up the street on his riding mower, wearing a plastic Viking helmet and waving a rake. Unhand that horseless carriage, villains. The whole scene was straight out of a sitcom, but it gave me a moment to look at Karen's paperwork. And something was off. Fonts didn't match, stamps looked fuzzy. It was fake, probably forged. Now this was beyond HOA pettiness. This was a crime. That night I installed security cameras everywhere. I wasn't just protecting my car, I was building a case. And I started thinking, if Karen would go this far, what else was she willing to do? A few nights later, the cameras caught Bryce sneaking across my lawn, spray can in hand, about to tag my car. But that wasn't the weirdest part. On another camera across the street at Karen's house, I saw a car I didn't recognize. Someone got out, exchanged a briefcase for an envelope with someone coming out of Karen's place. Quick, secretive, and way shadier than a neighborhood beef. The next day, I had everything I needed to nail Bryce for the vandalism. But part of me was itching to know what that late-night briefcase exchange was about. Was Karen involved in something way bigger than HOA drama? I started digging. That car from the footage belonged to a business called Acme Holdings LLC, a shell company linked after a lot of online sleuthing to a contractor who'd done overpriced work for our HOA before. Suddenly everything started to click. Karen wasn't just harassing me, she was using her position to funnel HOA money to companies she was secretly involved with. Fraud, embezzlement, the works. But here's where things got dark. Watching the footage again, I realized that before the briefcase exchange, Bryce and Karen were inside arguing. She gave him a pill, he took it, and slumped on the couch out of it. All that talk about Bryce's depression started to feel less like a real issue and more like Karen keeping her own kid sedated so he wouldn't mess up her schemes. Bryce went from being the neighborhood brat to another pawn in her game. Doesn't excuse him trashing my car, but it made me see the whole mess in a different light. By now, I had a pile of evidence, the vandalism footage, the fake tow order, links between Karen and Acme Holdings, and that suspicious exchange. With the annual HOA meeting coming up, I knew it was time. I spent days prepping, making copies, editing security clips, laying it all out, so even Karen's die-hard supporters couldn't deny what was happening. Uncle Mitch wanted to back me up with pigeons or font-size sabotage, but I told him his moral support was enough. The night of the meeting, the clubhouse was packed. Word travels fast, especially with Mitch fanning the flames. Karen tried to start the meeting like it was any other, smiling in control, but I stood up, laid out the harassment, the vandalism, the bogus complaints, the forged document, and finally the shady payments and late-night deals. Then I played the clips. Bryce tagging my car, Karen's sketchy briefcase deal, and carefully the part showing her giving Bryce that pill. The place exploded, shouts, accusations, people demanding Karen's resignation right there. The tow company owner caved, admitting Karen had pressured him to tow abandoned cars all over town for a cut. Karen sputtered, called me a liar, but nobody believed her. Within days, the cops were involved, fraud, embezzlement, forgery, and child endangerment charges. Turns out Acme Holdings was just one arm of her crooked empire. Bryce, meanwhile, ended up in court-ordered therapy and community service. Watching him scrub that yellow streak off my car all alone was oddly sad. I couldn't even feel good about it. He was just another casualty of Karen's obsession. The HOA elected a new board my grandpa joined for a bit of sanity. Mitch started organizing ice cream socials and mailbox contests, and the neighborhood started to feel normal again. People out talking, smiling, not ducking behind hedges when Karen came around. And as for me and my car, a fresh paint job, better security, and a small sign by my driveway. This car was earned. If you want one, go out and earn it. Yeah, it's cheesy, but after what I went through, I figure the lesson is worth sharing. So what's justice, really? Sometimes it's not about getting even. It's about rooting out the real rot, making things right for everybody, and making sure people like Karen don't get to run the show anymore. But hey, maybe you see it different. Would you have gone after her or just stuck with getting the car fixed and moving on? Let me know, because in neighborhoods like mine, everybody's got a story and everyone's got an opinion on where justice really ends.